Hey everybody, it's your main man T Square, Tristan Thomas. Welcome to Toss Divisional Sports Show, episode 65. It's our brand here is truthful, opinionated, and passionate. You all know that because you all listen. I thank you so very much for doing so. And last week there was some real stuff that went down. If you don't know what it is, if you've been living under a rock, if you just really haven't been paying attention, there was or has been an ongoing coup attempt going on in this country by the man that occupies the Oval Office currently. He will not occupy that office any longer after 12:01 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on January 20th. There's been lie after lie after lie after lie that's been told. There was not a free and fair election. There was fraud all over the place. I won the election. Fight for what's right. And then there was inciting of essentially a riot, an insurrection at the Capitol of the United States of America. And I got to tell you, some of the scenes that I saw go down on January 6th, when all the signs were there, we know who this man incites, who he taps into. He taps into some of the absolute worst this country and possibly this world has to offer. And when you tap into some of the absolute worst people this country has to offer, bad things are going to happen, especially when they feel that they can get away with it. By the time this insurrection had happened, Toss was already in a can. It had already premiered. And it's a good thing that it did, because had I had to record after that happened, this would have been a very explicit show. I would have had a lot of choice words for a lot of horrible, god-awful people. And while some people may have enjoyed it, I would sit back and listen to it and say, man, I really shouldn't have recorded when I was angry. Full disclosure, I had a chance to record with Professor P on his podcast, the I Got a Story to Tell podcast, which you can listen to everywhere you listen to your podcast. He asked me if I would come on to the show. And it took me a while to respond back to him. And at one point in the day, I felt that, yeah, I'm okay to record. But as the time got closer and the day continued to go on, and I just kept getting updates about what's happening and just thinking about what happened in the summer with the fight for our Black lives and how those people were treated compared to how the people who decided to rush the Capitol, beat police, kill police. 5 people were killed as a result of this insurrection. They went into the Capitol hunting for politicians. They set up gallows. How in the hell? I'm getting ahead of myself. As the day went on, and the more I read about what was going on and watching what was going on, and just thinking back to the summer when people were finally standing up saying enough is enough. Black lives do matter. Equity and equality do matter. And it is no longer something we'll fight for. It is something that is an absolute must in this country. And we will force it to be a must. Not by violent means, but we will force this to be the standard. Equality and equity for all. When I just kept bouncing it off in my head, looking at what's happening today, comparing it to what was happening in the summer after George Floyd was murdered. The macings, the pepper spray, the rubber bullets, the beatings, the curfews, the boxing in, the highly restricted areas, the highly restricted items you were able to even bring into those areas, which is why I say, how in the hell were they able to bring in wood and nooses and rope to build any sort of gallows on those grounds? What happened last Wednesday, January 6th, pissed me off for so many reasons. But when you bounce it back off of what happened this past summer and the reason why people all over the world were in the streets and continuing, there's people still in the streets continuing to march to this day and fighting for something that's actually real, something that's actually been proven for 402 years compared to something that's a lie. And we know it's a lie. It's been proven to be a lie. When you compare it to those two situations, and you've been black all your life, or brown all your life, I think you'd be pissed off too. So the more I sat there and just thought about it, the more my head began to hurt, man. And I caught a migraine. And I laid down, and I had an alarm, but I just laid down because I really needed to just turn off my mind, turn everything off, get back to myself, take a little bit of time away from everything, collect my thoughts a little bit, try to get past this migraine. And I slept right through my alarm and wasn't able to record with Professor P. And I think it was a good idea because when I did eventually wake up, I was still furious. I was still pissed off. You have the privileged bum rushing the Capitol. You have people with zip ties. They were looking to take prisoners. You have people there were bombs. That doesn't even get discussed enough. There were bombs and explosives. There were people with weapons. People who didn't have weapons ended up using what you wouldn't consider a weapon, flag poles, to be police officers. I think we've all seen the videos. They were able to walk up in there and they're taking selfies with officers. Officers who had some of their own brethren beaten, murdered. But you're taking selfies with them. And you're agreeing with their viewpoints, their lies. And you're walking them down the stairs and you're welcoming them. They were welcomed in. They were let straight in. And only now are you seeing some of them get arrested. But the thing is, an arrest and a conviction, two different things. And I would even take a step further. An arrest, a conviction, and the time served are three different things. How many of these fools who decided to pull an insurrection at the Capitol are actually going to serve any type of real time? That area has a very sophisticated system in which they can chart where you are. Cell phones. They can triangulate your position and where you were that day. If you're around that area, they're going to find you. If you were in that building, they're going to find you. These people are just now getting put on the no-fly list, and they're crying as if they didn't do anything wrong. They literally bum rushed the Capitol, murdered people. We're searching for politicians to hurt, take hostage, maim, murder. And they went back to the Hyatt Regency to chill at the lobby bar around the fireplace and talk about their day, as if what they had participated in was some scavenger hunt that they traveled for. They literally went on vacation to go and bum rush the Capitol, cause a bunch of chaos, murder people, and thought they were just going to go back home as if it was just some sort of vacation, and they go back to their cushy little lives without any type of consequences. But you go back to May, you go back to June and July and August, when it was the fight for the equality of black people everywhere, who continue to have the deck stacked against them, who continue to be murdered because their melanin is powerful. And it's all sorts of chaos against them. They're not causing the chaos. It's chaos against them. It's enough to piss you off. And it did. For the longest time. It did. I wrote something 4 years ago on my personal Facebook. It was the day after Election Day in 2016 when Agent Orange, and I will not say his name because I do not want to sully this program with his name, was elected. And I'm going to read that to you right now because I'm going to ask a very pertinent question at the end of it. These are my words. November 9th of 2016, the day after Agent Orange was elected. In the words of Jay-Z from his song, True Life, quote, "When someone shows you who they are, believe them," end quote. Now, more than ever, America has shown me who they are. People in the county I live in, the county I work in, and the state I live have shown me who they are. Not that I've never seen it. Just a few months ago, I had the M-bomb dropped on me by a Walmart employee in Green Bay. Is it really a shock that Brown County voted that guy? All this election and Agent Orange have done is make the hateful more bold and comfortable in their hate. As a result, many groups of people are going to live in fear and struggle mightily. This wasn't about politics. This was the dawning of a new world order that seeks to exclude instead of unite, to hate instead of love. I am saddened that this is what this country has chosen, and that my child will be born into a country where the president and most of the citizens in the country and the state hate them because of their skin color. As sad as I am, though, I am not shocked. I was born and raised in the most segregated city in the U.S., Milwaukee, Wisconsin. This is the type of hate speech I've had to live through, the prejudice I've had to endure, the racism I've had levied upon me. This has always festered on a national level, and Agent Orange tapped into it. Make no mistake about it, this country has taken a giant step backward. I worry for my brothers and sisters, the LGBTQ community, Muslims, immigrants who want to make it in this country and want to do so the right way. I worry for them all. We will not have a seat at the table. We will not be represented in this government. We will have many hardships coming as if we didn't have them already. This is a dark time in this country. For those that did vote for Agent Orange, congratulations. You got your wish. For those who voted Republican on the down ticket, congratulations. You got your wish. Now it's time to lead. It is Agent Orange's responsibility to unite this country, as it is also the Republican Party's responsibility as well. I hold very little shred of hope that all groups will be represented and this country will heal and move forward. But I refer you to the lyric I started this message with. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. Agent Orange, the Republican Party, the state of Wisconsin, and the U.S. has shown me this hope isn't warranted. Those were my words the day after the election in 2016. I ask you, where's the lie? Where is the lie? Are we better as a country right now? After 4 years of terror from the very top? No, we are not. Has every group been represented in this government? No, we are not. Have there been more hardships levied upon people, especially those who are not white? Yes, they have. We're closing in on losing over 500,000 American lives because of the failure to act against COVID-19. You have an economy that is essentially in ruins, that doesn't exist anymore. There will be a new economy that has to be built, all because of the failure to respond to COVID-19 and other failed policies that were put in place to benefit the very top. We are not better as a country. Not even close. And now that we have a new president-elect and vice president-elect and a new administration that will be beginning their work starting next Wednesday, we hope to get there. But most of this first part of the administration's time in office is going to be used to be cleaning up the mess left by the previous administration, a mess that they're still continuing to make, by the way. You got a bunch of cowards quitting left to right that, insurrection on the Capitol is just too much for me. And, I've got to go. I just can't handle this. You get no applause from me. You get no, wow, you're really standing up for what's right from me. Because for 4 years, it was okay. But now you're shocked by the fire. I said it before and I'll say it again. You married the devil. And when you marry the devil, you cannot be shocked by the flames that come with it. You were just fine basking in the glow and the warmth of all the evil and the flames that came along with Agent Orange. But this was a little bit too much for you. Not these fools trying to run Biden-Harris's bus off the road, which was applauded by senators like Marco Rubio. Now that wasn't too much. Not police cracking open an elderly man's head while he was protesting a Black Lives Matter protest. Now that wasn't too much. Not him having the military clear out a path so he can go hold the Bible upside down for a photo op. Now that wasn't too much. None of the policies, none of the things he said on the 500 plus days on the campaign trail before he was elected was too much. But this was too much. And then you have folks on the other side of the aisle who want to skip over the consequences part and get straight to unity and healing. There is no unity and healing without accountability and consequences. So you can stop all that talk right now. This country has been tortured for 4+ years with wretched policies that scaled back all the progress that was made in the previous administration by a pandemic that could have been under control, but instead left unchecked and uncontrolled, and is now on the precipice of killing over 500,000 Americans and counting. Everything I said in my statement that I just read to all of you came true. And how did I know that? Because I'm a black man in the United States of America who knows a racist, a bigot, a xenophobic, a narcissist when he sees it, who understands that there are two Americas. And that was on full display, not only for the past 4 years, but it was most definitely on display last Wednesday. I know y'all come here for sports. It's the Tristain Sports Show. It's in the very title, and I get it. But understand something. I'm a black man. And I'm proud to be a black man. I wouldn't change my melanin even if I could. And what I saw is what I've been seeing all my life. What I saw is what I learned about a long time ago. We've seen white rage before. Go back and look at Tulsa. Black Wall Street. Go back and look at the church bombings. Go and look at Bloody Sunday. The hangings. Cross burning. Go and look at Emmett Till. And all that was before George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Khalif Browder, Tamir Rice, Trayvon Martin, Sandra Bland. White supremacy continues to be the greatest terror in this country. And if you are still in doubt about that, after what we saw last Wednesday, I'm not going to sit here and say I feel sorry for you. I'm just going to say you should be damned ashamed of yourself because you're choosing not to see it. I had to talk about it, y'all. I had to talk about it because I'm more than sports. Always have been. And I care about this country. I care about my family. I care about your family. I care about you. There's enough success for all of us. There's room for all of us. There's equity and equality for all of us. We need to come together and realize that. But we cannot come together in unity until those who are responsible pay for what they did. There cannot be unity and forward movement without accountability and consequences. Some people are not going to like what I say. That's fine. But the facts don't care about your feelings. The bottom line is, I can't even bottom line it. It's more complicated than that. But yet very, very simple. People need to pay for what they did. Then the healing can begin. This isn't a forgive and forget type of thing. Do I have faith that this country can get better? I don't know why I do, but I do. And it's going to take some people who are not willing to give up easily, to keep fighting, to keep actual momentum and movement towards better. Never lose that steam, never lose that fire, that fervor to make things better for everyone. Not just your ideologies, but for everyone. And for some damn reason, I still have that hope. But I'm going to continue to do my part. And I hope all of you that are listening worldwide, continue to do your part to make wherever you are, whether it be India, whether it be Ireland, whether it be Africa, whether it be the United States, whether it be Australia, it doesn't matter where you are. You could do something to make things better where you are. But especially to all my United States listeners. We all have to do better. And it has to come down to a point where you have to realize that this country needs to come to grips with its original sin of racism and actually face it. Don't revel in it. Actually face it and change it. And then we can move forward. Then we can find that equity and equality for all. And I'm not going to stop. I'm going to continue to do my part. Because even after all this, for some damn reason, I still believe in the idea of this country. But last week, I wasn't shocked. I was angry. Because people like me, we were right. Let's move on to the toss sweep. Toss Sweep brought to you by the good folks over at TossNationMedia.com. Toss Nation Media, your home for the Toss brand of sports. Truthful, opinionated, passionate sports, and more. It's what you deserve. We're going to try to do a hard transition. I know it was some heavy stuff at the beginning, but we had to talk about it. We're going to try to pull a hard transition into something more light, something more fun. There was football played this past weekend. Not just any football. Playoff football. It was super, super wild card weekend. And I don't know why they call it super wild card weekend. They really need to call that something else. I suggested we call it wild card weekend XL because instead of the 4 games, you got 6 because of the extra playoff team and only one team getting a bye week, which are the number 1 seeds. How did I do with my predictions? I went 3-3, y'all. I went 3-3 last weekend, which just goes to show you why I love playoff football. It is 100% completely unpredictable. You think a team's going to go in there, just blow another team out, and they don't. They end up losing or ends up being a lot closer than you think. And you got a team that you thought, no way they're going to do this, and they actually blow a team out, just blow them out the water. You didn't even see it coming. We had all that this last weekend. I went 3-3. 3-3. So how do my predictions go? Let's go back to last week. Check out the Saturday games. The Bills versus the Colts. I predicted the Bills would win that game. I got that one right, and I said it would be closer than most people thought. The Colts did exactly what I said they would. They ran the ball effectively with Jonathan Taylor. Hell of a season by that rook. But in the end, it was that defense of Buffalo coming up with that one extra play. And Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs leading that offense for the Bills to multiple scores. They move on. Seahawks, Rams. Now, remember what I said last week. I said the Rams would not win that game because they're not going to have Jared Goff. They had John Wolford. I said, hey, if they're without Cooper Kupp, who had tested positive for COVID but was able to make it back in time. He tested negative enough times, so he came back. They ended up having Cooper Kupp. John Wolford gets hit. We thought it was a really serious neck injury at first. He had to be taken to the hospital for observations. Ends up being a stinger. Best case scenario. Jared Goff actually dressed. I didn't even expect him to dress, but he ended up dressing as the emergency quarterback. He was the number 2 quarterback. You would think they would have 3 if you really didn't want to play golf. And his thumb was, 12 days removed from surgery at that point in time. Well, Wolford gets hurt. Goff is the number 2 quarterback on the roster. And they said it was an emergency. Well, it's an emergency. And he was pressed into duty. Now, he didn't have the best day. Cam Akers and that running game for the Rams did have the best day. Ran all over the Seahawks. And that number 1 defense in the Rams, and we'll talk about them more in a minute because of their opponent, stepped up big time. Show why they're number 1. Aaron Donald does have some torn rib cartilage there, which is going to be extremely tough for him to go on Saturday. But they got that win. Rams won that one, so I got that one wrong. But again, I said, hey, if they're going to be without Jared Goff, especially, their defense would give them a shot. But I thought the Seahawks would win that game. I thought they would put up some points, whereas the Rams really wouldn't be able to put up enough points. But again, they Goff was there. Their running game was there. Their defense was tough. Seahawks just got taken to the woodshed. The Washington football team, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Tampa Bay going to Washington. I said the Bucs will win that one. I was correct. Can't say too much in that game. It's Tom Brady in the playoffs. The Washington football team didn't have Alex Smith because of a calf injury. The backup Heineke, the XFL legend, guy that backed up Cam Newton when they were both in Carolina, he came in and balled out, gave Washington a chance, but in the end, that playoff experience, Tom Brady, Bruce Arians, they got the job done. The Sunday games, Titans, Ravens, rematch of last season's divisional playoff round where the Titans went into Baltimore and made them exit the playoffs. This time it's the Titans at home as the number 4 seed and the Ravens the number 5 seed. And the Ravens have been playing a lot better over the last few weeks, especially of the regular season. That defense got healthy. This team got hot. Lamar Jackson, that whole team has something to prove. They knew how they got dropped out of the playoffs by the Titans the previous season when they were the favorites. They knew how the Titans came in and danced on their logo. Well, guess what? The Ravens beat them. Came in and danced on their logo. And it was a really good football game. It was a tough football game. That Ravens defense is, again, they're healthy and they're playing extremely well. Lamar Jackson, if he can continue to manage the game, be that game breaker with his legs, make the passes that he needs to make, as he has shown the ability to do. They get that run game going a little bit. This team, it could be dangerous. Now, remember, it's about how hot you come into the playoffs. It's always that one team that just comes in and they're just hot. And they just go on a run. And that's exactly what you need. When you get in the tournament, anything can happen. Are the Ravens that squad? Don't know. A lot to be written. A lot of playoff ball to be played. They'll move on. Titans go home. They shut down Derrick Henry. I mean, I thought the Packers did a wonderful job against them, but the Ravens absolutely shut him down. Didn't even reach 40 yards rushing. They shut him all the way down. Great job by them. Steelers. Browns. That was the late game. And apparently it was the highest rated game, or highest rated program. It was over from the jump. Marquise Pouncey snapping the ball over Big Ben Roethlisberger, who's what, 6'6", 6'7"? Browns recovered for a touchdown in the end zone. From there, the route was on. Did not see that coming. Now I said, when you get a game, especially in the playoffs, against 2 divisional opponents, weird things happen, and weird things did happen. And the Browns took advantage, man. Baker Mayfield played pretty well. Roethlisberger threw for over 500-plus yards, 4 touchdowns, but he also had 4 interceptions. So you got to give all the credit in the world to the Browns. They're dealing with all sorts of COVID problems. Their head coach, Kevin Stefanski, watched the game from his basement while he's isolating. They hope to have him back. They're missing a gang of players, but yet they go into Pittsburgh, who had not been playing well, really haven't been playing well since that Washington loss. They go in and knock them out from the playoffs. So I got that one incorrect, as I got the Baltimore Ravens and Tennessee Titans one incorrect. The last game I did get correct, and it happened before Steelers and Browns, was the Saints and Bears game. And I called that for Saints, and it was a tougher game than I thought it would be. I thought the Saints would go out there and put up a lot of points. But again, the Bears defense was pretty good. And they showed up, and they were pretty good. And I thought they would be good enough until maybe something happens and the levee just breaks. And the levee didn't quite break, but, it was a 21-9 score. Jimmy Graham scoring an insignificant touchdown as time expired in the fourth quarter and just runs off the field. Microcosm for his career. Coming up when it matters least. But the Saints win that one, and I end up 3-3 for Super Wild Card Weekend. So now we move forward. Predictions. Divisional round. Probably my favorite round. Now, this is typically when the big boys get involved. You're talking about the 1 and 2 seeds. But with this season, the 2 seeds not getting the bye, and you have the heaviest of heavyweights now getting involved with the number 1 seed in both conferences. You talk about the Chiefs in the AFC, and you're talking about the Green Bay Packers in the NFC. They are now getting involved in the playoff fray. Let's go to divisional round predictions. Let's start off with the Saturday games. Off top, Green Bay Packers get the afternoon game on Saturday. I thought they would get the primetime game. They're the number 1 seed in the NFC. I mean, typically, don't they get the primetime game, on Saturday? I guess not this time. Packers are expected to have about 8,000 or 9,000 fans in the stands. Season ticket holders sold out. The 6,000 tickets that were available to them to go to a playoff game at Lambeau Field, it is going to be a crazy atmosphere, even with that few people. You're talking 80-plus people being at Lambeau on game day. You're talking about the whole thing being an experience, being out there, and you're going to get a little taste of that on Saturday. People are going to be tailgating, obviously socially distanced as much as possible. Or maybe they might not be. I don't know. But you're going to have about 8,000 to 9,000 people there. You just get a slice of Lambeau, a slice of home field advantage, a true home field advantage with fans being in the stands. It's going to be something to see. So Green Bay, their opponent, by virtue of their victory on Super Wild Card Weekend, the Los Angeles Rams. Now, we spoke about Aaron Donald's injury, torn rib cartilage. Difficult injury to play with. It is extremely painful. So it's going to really come down to his pain tolerance on whether or not he's going to be able to be a factor. Now, when he got injured, he did come back to the sideline, but he never came back to the game. So that goes to show you how significant that injury is. That's a guy that usually plays through anything. One of the most devastating defensive forces in the game today. That's going to make things a little bit tough if they don't have him there. A matchup I'm looking forward to, Davante Adams, the best wide receiver in the game. Yeah, I said it and I didn't stutter. The best wide receiver in the game today, Davante Adams, going up against Jalen Ramsey. Now, they've met before. Packers played Jacksonville Jaguars. That's when Jalen Ramsey was still a Jag. And he got scored on. Davante made some tough catches against him. Yeah, that's going to be a really good matchup to look at. Number one offense in the Green Bay Packers, the number one defense in the Los Angeles Rams. Something's got to give. Sean McVay not really putting out there who he's going to start at quarterback, whether it's going to be Wolford or whether it's going to be Goff. Again, Goff still recovering from thumb surgery, but if he played last week, you got to think that maybe, just maybe, he's going to end up being the starter to give them the best shot at trying to come into Lambeau and winning that ball game against the Packers in the playoffs in the win or go home situation. Will the Packers have any kind of rust from their bye week? They were humming along. An automatic 30 just about. Will they have any issues with juice, quote unquote? We'll have to see that. Again, fans being in the stands, anywhere from 8,000 to 9,000 people in the stands at Lambeau Field, most of them they're mostly all going to be Packer fans unless some of the season ticket holders decide to sell their tickets to other people. You hope that doesn't happen, seeing as how nobody's been able to go to a game other than friends and family. I've got Green Bay winning that ball game, but it's going to be very, very close. Now, the Rams have the number one defense. The Packers had the 9th overall defense, believe it or not. The 9th overall defense in the league. So they can match up defensively. But I think their offense is a little bit greater. You got Jamal Williams, and you got Aaron Jones, and you got A.J. the Sauce Dillon to run the football if you can't really get anywhere with the passing game, which I do not foresee. But if you really want to play that type of football, if the conditions aren't going to be conducive to you run to actually passing the football, you got 3 backs that go out there and get the job done. It will be tough. I will say it will be tough against that defense. You're going to have your work cut out for you, but I think Green Bay comes out the winner of that game. Let's go to the primetime game. The number 2 seed, Buffalo Bills, playing at home in New York against the Baltimore Ravens. Now, this one, I have gone back and forth with my predictions. Like I said, Baltimore's defense, the team as a whole is playing really well. They've gotten hot. They could be that one dangerous team in the AFC that makes that run that nobody predicted they would make. But the Bills, typically as a number 2 seed, you're coming off that bye week, and especially for a young team like this, you just don't know how they will respond. Well, they've been playing right through. I think for a young team, that's a benefit. Their defense not quite playing the same way that the Ravens defense has been playing over the past few weeks, but still a very good defense. That offense for the Bills is a little bit more higher powered than Baltimore. This one is tough because part of me really wants to go and say the Ravens, because I think they may be that team that just gets hot and just makes a run. But it's hard for me to pick against Buffalo because of the way they're playing and the fact that they've been playing straight through, even as a number 2 seed without a bye week this year. I've got to go Buffalo with this one, and it's going to be close. It is going to be close, but I think that Bills offense makes a couple more plays than does the Ravens offense, and they're able to come out with that victory. Let's go to Sunday's games. The early game, Cleveland Browns versus the number 1 seed Kansas City Chiefs, and I'm just going to go out there and say Kansas City's got this one. You're talking about offense for offense. Who is the better quarterback? And between Baker Mayfield and Patrick Mahomes, I'm going Mahomes. Who has the better weapons offensively? Yes, you got Kareem Hunt, the former Chief. Yes, you have Nick Chubb. Yes, you have Jarvis Landry. But then on the other side, you got Tyreek Hill, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Le'Veon Bell, Travis Kelce, Nicole Hardman. I mean, I think Kansas City has that one. I think they win that one. It could be a game where weird things happen. We see it all the time in the playoffs. Maybe it's a little bit closer than we all think. But I think Kansas City, especially playing at Arrowhead, they got that one. And the final game of the divisional round, the later game, or I should say the night game, Sunday night game, Tampa Bay, New Orleans, down in New Orleans in the Dome. This one I'm going back and forth because it is a divisional battle. These two teams know each other. Saints have not lost to Tampa at all this season. They're 2-0 against them. But Tom Brady has never lost to a team 3 times in one season. Has never done it. Now, I know that was a different system, a different coach. I get it. But what type of craftiness is Bruce Arians and Tom Brady going to come out with this one? They're going up against a very tough defense in the Saints. And that Saints offense is not quite as high-powered as we had become accustomed to it. Breeze is older. I think it's not out of pocket to say that his game is just a little bit different. He's not that big-time down-the-field explosive thrower that we've come to know. He's more of the accurate, intermediate route type thrower. Doesn't mean he can't throw the deep ball still, but it's just not as frequent. It's not as explosive as we've become accustomed to seeing him. I think by the very fact that it is in the Dome, and I think I trust that Saints defense just a little bit more than I do the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense. They'll make that one critical play, that one more critical play in the game. Doesn't mean it has to be late. It could be just a game-changing play to win that ball game. So I got the Saints. So to recap, divisional round predictions. I've got Green Bay. I've got Buffalo. I've got Kansas City. And I've got the Saints, all advancing to Championship Sunday for the right to play in the Super Bowl. Let me tell you, this is, like I said, this is probably one of my favorite weekends of football because the heavyweights get involved and the craziness just continues. It's still very unpredictable. Bye weeks affect teams in a way that it may not affect others. It's just really intriguing matchups all the way around. I mean, I can't wait to just get done with what I got to get done with. All my chores, all the list, and sit down with my snacks and an adult beverage, enjoyed responsibly, of course, and just watch these games, man. Divisional round football coming up Saturday and Sunday. Whoop, y'all. That'll do it for me. This was episode 65 of the Tristain on Sports Show Toss. Yeah, we started heavy, but we ended light. Like I said, it's not just sports. I'm more than sports. Facebook.com/T on Sports Show. That's TON Sports Show. Covers a lot of things I don't touch on here during the show. So if you want more bits and bytes and antidotes, go ahead. Facebook.com/T on Sports Show. That's TON Sports Show. You know where to find me on social media at the20double on Instagram and Twitter. That's at the number 2, the number 0, and the word double. And of course, your home for the Toss brand of sports, tossnationmedia.com. Toss Nation Media, truthful, opinionated, passionate sports and life. It's what you deserve. But as I said before, it's time for me to get on up out of here. This is T Squared, Tristain Thomas, reminding all of you to keep it moving forward. Always forward. Forward always. Until next week. So long from Toss.